Hi guys, it's Uga and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be ranking the 8 murders of the May Perfect Murders in the terms of my experience and my personal opinion. Basically is this. So I create a table that's here, that's gonna be here, that I'll be basically give some points and then make the average of that. So we have evidence, so everything that you can relate and you can get caught. Then we have the preparation that you have to do before and after the crime. You have the setting, what you need to be done, what it needs to happen, what it needs to the person have. Basically everything that it needs to be in a certain way so it can work. You have the crime, and in the crime I divided into the idea, the concept, everything. The ideal, the utopia of the crime, and then the execution of it, how it could work, and then after the crime, because many of the murders are not caught before, are caught always after, and how you can deal with the after. So I already have the ranking, I already have the average, and now let's start with what I consider is one of the worst murders here on the list, and is malice aforethought. So malice aforethought I gave 3 on evidence, 1 on preparation, 2 on setting, then 4 and 7 on crime, so 4 for the execution, 7 for the idea, and then I gave 5 on after crime. And this brings this murder to an average of 3.2 points. I rank this one from 1 to 10. Now I see that I tend almost too low, everything below 5. Except some parts that are a little bit higher, but usually they go below 5, so I'm not a very kind person while ranking. Now, malice aforethought, it was the doctor who killed his wife by overdose. Explaining. 3 on evidence, you leave a lot of evidence. If you are a doctor killing your wife, you leave the trait of the medicine that you buy, the medicine that you use, even if she's in contact with it. It's suspicious that you don't lock it, or if you don't pull it away. It would be suspicious that she died with drugs that you used. In the book, he used a drug to make her addict so he can cure it and make her an addict of morphine. And that drug leaves not only organic compounds but also metals who did not disappear after she died. So that's evidence that you can have to be aware that can be caught. And nowadays there is more anti-poisonings, there is more treatments, and there is more way to detect compounds, so it will be harder. In terms of preparation, is one that takes a lot of time, takes a lot of patience, because you don't kill her just like I can prepare in a week. Now you have to make her an addict. Unless someone is already an addict, you have to make her, and since you have to make her, it then sometimes it then depends on the person, if the person is susceptible or not to become an addict. If you pull like this, that you give her a disease that can be treated with a drug, it's not one of the best. Then pull-offs, and then settings I gave also 2, because like I said, you need to make sure the person is a person that can become an addict, is a person who has that feeling and has that impulse, and then you have to break everything. The murder, ideally, it's good, she dies of an overdose. Someone can overdose and everything if she's an addict, so what is to blame? The execution, otherwise, it's different. Unless it's like I said in my review, if someone is an addict already, and then you just have to give her the amount to kill him. But that is different setting to get, a different setting to have specifically. But yeah, and it's not easy to pull off. If for some reason you turn her into when I say her, I say him, whatever, into an addict, hi Tobias. If you turn him into an addict, you can pull it off, but you have to be careful of evidence that you leave, medical alibis. So it's And for me, from the list, I think it's one of the the worst in the best, but also very sneaky. The second murder, so this is from, as you can see, from worst to best. I have Red House Mystery by A.L. Mile. I gave this one 3 in evidence, 2 in preparation, 2 on setting, then I gave 5 and 7 on crime, 5 on how it's easily to pull off, and 7 on the idea, and then I gave 6 to after crime. So, and this brings this murder to an average of 3.8. Now, Red House Mystery is about a brother who supposedly killed his brother and then he got away, and then we understand that he was not the brother. So, in terms of evidence, it's the same as Malice aforethought. You have like to be careful with who sees it, who hears, who have like, if you kill by a gun, you have to be careful with fingerprints, with everything that you come. Then you have the preparation is of the murder itself. It's easier a little bit. It doesn't take so much time. You just have to create a diversion and be, for example, in the Red House Mystery, it was a brother that was coming up, so you just need to make a letter and fake that a brother is coming up home, so he can like meet the brother and kill. In 8 Perfect Murders was a lover and a wife that were, one was killing the other and the other was running away. Like usually the lover kills the wife that is cheating, so he can run away, and he run away. Usually they are both, one is dead and then they kill the other. You have to create that, and that is why in setting this is the same as Malice aforethought. How do you get a perfect setting like that? Someone having a brother who apparently is deceased and no one knows, or someone has a lover and then you have to kill the lover, and then you have to kill her. So that's why in preparations it's not hard, because it doesn't take so long. You just can kill them you can kill them like at the same day. It's no problem, but it takes a lot of time and takes a lot of thinking about and to prepare the setting. And the setting is hard to find. You need someone who has having an affair, or that has a brother that is deceased and they don't know, but you know. It's not easy to find another suspect for you. Then crime. The crime, I think it's a great idea to bring the guilt to someone else, like in Malice aforethought 7. But then in execution, I think it's easier, because in terms of the other to become another, here you just need like 2 persons. If you have the setting, imagine you have the setting, giving a little dose can be harder, because you have to, no one can see you in that time, so you cannot be linked to the giving the little dose. But here you just have to kill the lover first, send like a message so you can meet. She kill, you kill her. She will have like a message like, if I'm not with you, or you are not with anyone else. And then you show that body, you hide the lover's body, and then like the lover's body appear like 2 days ago, 2 days after, on a car burning or in a bridge, like he committed suicide or something. Or you can make it look like a suicide from him part, and then you kill her. You can make both ways. But even then, I think it's not one of the easiest, because of the setting and of the preparations. Then we move to Double Indemnity, which I gave 4 on evidence, 3 on preparations, 3 on setting, 6 and 8 on the crime part, and 7 on this after crime. And in this, it brings to an average of 4.6. So you can see it's a big jump. Although it's like, oh, it's the third worst, but it's a big jump for the other. It's like 0.8. So it's a kind of big jump. From the previous one, the after crime could be easier, because one of them, if you were the husband, and if she was killed by the lover, you can play like she was breaking up with him, that's why he killed him, and you can play like the broken heart. if you kill someone by an overdose, you can play the same part. She was a drug addict, but I love her so much, and I did everything I could to save her, but then she overdosed, you know. Here it's a little bit harder because you'll be more in the spotlight because it was an accident. Although the first one could also look an accident, you have a story more plausible than it just fall off the train. So in terms of evidence, imagine that you want to make look like he fell off the bridge off over the train, or that he was hit by a train on the railroads. You don't leave so much evidence. You just have to break the neck, so he can die from the cause that he will die if he actually did that. If you want to make look like an accident, not actual suicide, that can be harder, like trip over without leaving the body. Imagine in the book was the lover was on the train dressed as the man, and then he jumped off, and then they switched the body so he can look like he slipped and died instead of he jumping off very carefully and not dying. So it's a very sneaky part, but in terms of setting is also hard. It's I think the problem here on these murders are always the setting and the preparation. The evidence, if you are careful, you don't have so many, but in terms of preparation and setting, it's what is harder because you need to have the perfect conditions. How could you pull this off? Like, even if you kill him before what was happening in the book, how could you make him look like he slipped or that he jumped, or that is the thing here. It's creating the situation, and then of course you cannot be seen. You cannot have two persons throwing the body. In terms of crime, I think it's actually better than the others, because you just kill one person comparing to Red House. I think it's easier because it's a very easy way to kill. You just have to break a neck. For example, if it is a break of the neck, if you want to look like he drowned, for example, could also be used. You can drown in home, and then after you can in a lake, and then you pull off the body. I think it's a little bit better, and the whole concept of being a murder by accident, it's good. We move on to the next, which is Strangers on the Train. I gave it 5 on evidence, 3 on preparation, 3 on setting, 7 and 10 on the crime, and 5 on the after crime. So, evidence, you have the normal evidence of a murder, so I think you don't have perfect murders in terms of evidence. You cannot leave fingerprints, footprints, phone, credit card, cars, blood, DNA, all that stuff. So unless you have to remove those, but it's good. In terms of preparation for the murder itself that you're gonna commit, it's not hard. You just have to study a little bit. It can take you some time, but from the others, this is definitely one of the easiest ones. But it also takes some preparation, because if you want to commit the perfect murder, you have to take some preparation. So this will never be a higher grade here. Then in setting, it's not very easy. While in the Red House, you need someone who is a second wheel. In the Malice Aforethought, you have someone a very close setting. Here, you have to have a second wheel that's gonna make your murder. How do you find it? Even if you go to dark web, you have to be careful. Who do you pick? How do you pick? If you have the lucky to pick it and he committed first, or you commit it and then wait that he does his part, it's not a simple solution. It's not a simple way to hire someone. You don't hire just a hitman because you're exchanging. Then in terms of murder is brilliant. It's one of my favorites. How could you have an alibi from the murder, the person you want, the person who killed doesn't have any connection to you and it hasn't any connection to the victim, so you will never get caught. If you never get caught, you will never get caught because you will never talk. But this is where the aftercrime is important. You cannot remain any contact. That's how in the book it failed, because Bruno remained in contact with them all the time. It makes a lot of pressure, and he starts webbing lies that will make him easily to get caught. So here the aftercrime is the most important, because after someone commits the first crime and it's your turn or it's his turn, you cannot make a communication because you could get caught. You just have to wait that promise that you make in the beginning is fulfilled. You have to learn from, for example, the news that certain person that you wanted was killed, so you can move, or that person has to learn the same thing. And then you have to prepare, of course, your dates to be aligned and your alibis. So you have to prepare, like, not for the next month, but for example, I'm killing in October, because in October you will be like in Mexico for a conference, and then you're killing mine in, let me say, February, because in February I'm like in Maldives, for example. It can take some time, it can be very close, but if it's very close, I think will be like strange, two people died. But if it's a little space in time and you have a strong alibi like you will have, and you don't remain in contact, this will be a perfect murder. In terms of execution, it has its flaws, because you have to wait and you have to make sure that the killing is well done, that you don't leave any evidence. And then I think the hardest part here is the preparations and finding someone who's willing to do what you are willing to do. We move to the secret history that I gave 5 in evidence, 3 on setting and on preparation, 6 and 8 on the murder, and 7 of the aftercrime. So it's very similar to Malice Aforethought, to Strangers on the Train, who is at an average of 4.9. This has an average of 5, so they are very close. This top 5 has very close average. They were like very close. I could not distinguish very well where is going to be the different line between them. Secret History is another murder by accident. They kill the friend by throwing away off a cliff, and he died from broken neck and broken head, whatever. Now, in terms of evidence, I think it's much similar to Strangers on the Train. Be careful with phones, with alibis, with fingerprints, footprints, all that normal stuff that we already know. Setting and preparation, it can take time, because this is part of his routine. This is a murder that you kill, but you know that it's something that he do always. In the My Perfect Murder is someone who's riding a bicycle, and he does always that circuit, and here he always went there when he needed and spends a lot of time there. So it's something that is a normal activity. So you have to prepare for the right time, you have to have the right opportunity, because in the Secret History he was a little bit drunk. He was in a college party with alcohol, so it could make the sense that he was altered and he tripped and he died. In the 8 Perfect Murder, since he was hit by a car, it was an hit and run. Okay, you can do an hit and run, of course, but you will know there is always someone behind you. If you let something, for example, if the car takes a mark, you have to treat it very quickly and very quietly, so you cannot be linked to that. You cannot live nearby, because if someone saw the car or if someone saw the number plate, But in terms of the Secret History, like it was, the cliff, I think it was a good, but it takes a little setting, because if he was not drunk, the murder could not be pulled off, because it would look weird. Why that he jumped? Then in terms of crime, I think it's a little bit less executable than Strangers on the Train. The level of double indemnity, because how do you reach there? How do you do it? You have to make sure that he died. But in terms of idea, it's a very good idea. It's an 8. because it's like I said, when it's an accident, people don't question a lot that if it's a murder. That's why it's a good idea. But if you have someone knowing that you have conflicts, it could not be so good. So that's why it's an 8. And the aftercrime here is what is important, because in the secret history, what was work everywhere, because you have a large group. If you do it alone, you just have to deal with your conscience. Now, if you don't do it alone, you have to make sure that you control the second parts, because they could risk all the integrity of the project. We move to the third place, so the third best murder for me, and it's the ABC Murders by Agatha Christie. I gave 3 in evidence, 3 on preparation, 5 on setting, 7 and 9 on the crime, and 7 of the after crime. So the problem, and it brings to an average of 5.2. So here the problem is not the setting. You can just kill by the alphabet. You can just kill people that are bad and they have like in the May Perfect Murders, I think they have like bird names connecting. So you can kill like any way that you want. That makes like not, even if it's randomly, but it can be harder. If you have like a reason, it's okay. The setting, you don't need a big setting. You just need the opportunity to kill that person that you want, and that's comes where the evidence comes harder. You have at least 4 killings. For each kill, you have an increased chance that you will slip and you make a mistake, and that mistake can be what it gives you away. And when I say because it's normal fall, it's because you kill 2, the third is the one that you want, but that you cannot stop on that one, and then you kill a 4th. And then you have to be clever and stop. Not like how it did in the novel. You have just to stop. If the police doesn't caught you, even if you can kill like in the 8 Perfect Murders, that was like random people dying, but he didn't want to kill anyone, he just wanted the main character's attention. If you have an intention and if you want to look like a serial killer, you can make the same as the murder did. Write a letter to the police and say in the 4th, if you don't get caught, I'm tired of this game, you are boring, I'm out for a little time, let's see how you play next time. And then you go off, the evidence won't come against you. But then that's why you need to prepare yourself to do all of that and to break in the exact moment and maybe wait. But the setting itself, you don't need any special thing. You just need to kill, for example, a AA, a BB, a CC, a DD, something that connects to your victim that you really want. Kill the others, don't leave evidence. That's why the murder, it's a very great idea, because it creates a serial killer, and you're excluded almost automatically on the victim of the suspects. And the pull off, it's not a very hard one. It's hard to continue, but the killing itself, it can be like shots, it can be like hitting on the head, it could be hanging, could be whatever you want, unless that doesn't leave any evidence and ways that doesn't lead to you. Then this is a little tie between ABC Murders and this one, which is Death Trap. They both have an average of 5.2. I gave to Death Trap 7 on evidence, 2 on preparation, 2 on setting, 5 and 9 on crime, and 8 on after crime. So you don't have evidence here. This could be a 10, but beware. It could be a 10, but also could have some evidence. In Death Trap, they kill his wife by giving her a heart attack. They create a story about this young man coming to their home. He killed the young man, faking. She creates this tension. He goes to putting on the garden and bury him, and then he comes back from the dead and kills his husband, and then she dies from the heart attack from the stress. But you have some evidence here. You have fingerprints, you have footprints, you can have house staff. So you can see, you can pick little points on how it could explain that someone was there with you. In terms of preparation and setting, it's hard because, let's be true, you need a lot of setting. We need someone that has an heart disease. Okay, there is an increase of heart disease numbers, I know, but to be so severe that a scare of this magnitude, okay, it's a big scare and it's a big stress that kills you, I don't know. And you need preparation. You need to be sure that the time that you do it, it's the time that she dies. There is no repeat. There is no second try, because if you fail, you're doomed. So you need a lot of preparation. You need a lot of thinking of what is the best setting, the most stressful to create that attack. The murder, I think it's easy, it's brilliant as ABC, but it's not as pulled off as on ABC, because ABC just murdering whatever, however you want. Here, to give that condition, it's hard. You have to be very lucky, and it's needs to be very intense scene. The after crime, it's actually one of the best, because you just have to fake that you're very sad that your wife died from a heart attack, and you can even say that you said to her you are not feeling well because you had an heart attack and you are complaining. I said to go to the doctor, like he did, and that will pull off. They don't have evidence. And surprisingly, the best murder, in my opinion, of this number of this mathematical stuff that I brought was The Drowner by John D. MacDonald, the book that I didn't like so much, which is very close to the ABC murders and the Death Trap by 6. They have both 5.2. This has 5.3 on average. So I gave 5 on evidence, 4 on preparation, 3 on setting, 6 and 9 on the murder, on the crime, and 7 on the after crime. So evidence, they have more evidence than in Death Trap, but less than on ABC murders, because it's just one murder, and the evidence could be just simply the contacts that you make, the alibi, some fingerprints, some footprints, some tire on the road to the place where you're gonna drown, and some bruises on the victim that will link to she was murdered and not she was drowned. Preparation, it takes a little preparation, but you just have to be stronger than her and drag her, and then be willing enough to not to bruise her and to kill her, to make sure that she's there. That's why the setting, it's a little bit harder, because you have to create the scenario, you have to create the chance, you have to make sure that nobody's there, and then you can kill her with time to you to escape. Besides that, it's easy. The murder, in terms of idea, is very good. In terms of plotting, takes some time and takes some effort, but I think it's not the hardest to pull off in terms of physicality and on how you kill. It's just be willing, strong enough to grab someone underwater. And then the after crime, if you have something connect to her, you have to deal with the alibis and everything. But besides that, it's a drowning. It will be hardly a murder. Be very hard to cut. So, finalist: Malice Aforethought in 8th place, Red House Mystery in 7, Double Indemnity in 6, Stranger on the Train with the 5 spot, The Secret History in the 4th place, The ABC Murders tie with the Death Trap in 2nd, 3rd, and then The Drowner in 1st place. And this is my ranking of the 8 perfect murders that are in the novel of Peter Swanson. If you want to read the novel, if you reach this far, you can see my reviews, you can read definitely the books if you want. If you don't want to get spoiled by the book, if you don't mind get spoiled by the book, you can read it. It's usually what will spoil is who did it and how he did it, and basically is this. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed this little project, this little adventure. I'm tired of murders, but this month will be very different, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys like this video, and I post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so I see you guys in my next video. Bye.